It's finally time to campus again. I'm so excited. Campusing is definitely probably my favorite form of training. I always have fun when I'm during my campus sessions. And so when we were training at on the spray wall here at the beginning of the year, I had about a month where I was like projecting on it in February. I was only bouldering on it, so I haven't actually campused on this wall. So what I did is before the session, I got to the gym like a little bit early, and I spent maybe like 20 minutes or something making up some campus boulders. And I think I made like 4 boulders, and I decided, okay, so it's a 45-minute session a day. I'll just try to spread my time out evenly between them and just kind of almost forerun them a bit and suss them out, try to make some tweaks. What I will like to do with my campus boulders is like I'll make them up on the first day that I'm campusing and then try to tweak them so that they'll end up taking me like, I don't know, 3 or 4 sessions to work. So I get a lot of value from them and I can like track my progress over it. I try not to make campus boulders that are too easy where I just like make it up in a session and I do it. I try to make a boulder at the difficulty range where I'm gonna see some progress on it. So if the boulder ends up being too easy, I'll change some of the holds so that, and I have a pretty good gauge of this because I've been doing it for so long, I'll change the boulder to make it where it'll take me like 3 more sessions to do. And a lot of the time it's like, you know, kind of guesswork, but I've done this for enough times where I can have a pretty good idea. And I actually found that I was kind of nailing it today with the boulders that I made up. Like they were kind of at that level already. Like you see that first boulder, I was somewhat close to sending it. I just needed a little bit more power. And after a couple sessions of working that, I think I'll be able to do it. So that was good. And that was kind of the case with the other boulders that I'm trying here today as well. So after that first boulder with some edges, just to kind of get the fingers going, I move on to kind of a more crimpy campus boulder. And thankfully my fingers were feeling a bit better today actually than yesterday. They weren't really hurting that much. So I guess that was just kind of an off day yesterday. I don't know what was up. Like they definitely didn't feel super strong today, but there was no pain at least, which was nice. And so we're trying this boulder with a cool kind of outward facing spin move. Not quite a 360, but there's definitely like an element of coordination involved here. And oftentimes that's what I'll do with my campus sessions as well. Is not only is it like a very effective method of training your max power and like grip strength, but with the style of boulders that you see in the competitions these days, it's like so much campusing around and coordination and jumping. Like the campus sessions are also like a good opportunity to practice this sort of style, like just like swing based boulders or like kind of momentum based campus moves where it's not necessarily just about like grabbing the hold super hard and pulling. There's like a lot of movement involved and like knowing how to move your body properly. Like this move here, you could see this sort of spin campus move forced somehow on a boulder in a competition. Like we've probably seen this somewhere before, like kind of this swing through campus move that the setters will just force with like putting no feet on the wall or blocking holds or like having the feet be dual techs. So oftentimes when I'm campusing, I try to not only make these style of boulders just because they're a lot of fun to session on, but also because it's good like movement training for competing. So that last boulder will probably take me a couple more sessions to put all the moves together, and that'll be a good one to track the crimping power progress on. As my crimp strength comes back, I'm sure that boulder will get closer and closer to being sent. So now we're moving on to another boulder. Like I said, I try to make some nice movement-based campus moves, and so we got another like bit of a paddle here, which was a lot of fun. This pink hold's pretty slopey. It's just bad enough where I can't match it, at least not in this session where I don't have my maximum power. I kind of am like probably at 75-80% of like just my maximum power right now, I'd say. And so maybe there's a world in which I could just squeeze really hard and match that pink pinch, but not on this session. So it actually worked out. It kind of forced the paddle a bit better. So yeah, this one was pretty fun. You know, like I was saying, I try to make the boulders as hard enough where it's going to take me like 3 to 4 sessions. But you know, every now like I won't necessarily say that's the case with every single boulder. Like this boulder, I didn't end up tweaking it all. This was like the first version. Or no, sorry, I tweaked one hold, but that's like originally I was trying to go to that yellow sloper like after the paddle move, but that hold was just way too bad, so I changed the ending a bit. But this middle part was like hard enough where I was like, kind of learning. I was getting some value from this boulder by learning this paddle movement, and it was just like a good it was a good test of like where my strength was at. And so I decided, okay, I don't really need to make this one too much harder, like to kind of force myself to take a few more sessions on it. And that's actually because on this boulder I found I couldn't make it really harder without losing the integrity of the move, which was like this paddle move. If I changed it, I couldn't really do the paddle anymore. So I just said, okay, this one's fine. I'll let this one be a session 1 send, because I have like enough other campus boulders to last me like the next couple sessions. Like I'll probably have to make a few more, but yeah, between the other few boulders, I'll have enough. And so I'm just have about like 5-7 minutes left in the session for this campus session. So I kind of give this last boulder I made a couple tries. I didn't get to put like a whole lot of tries on it, just kind of suss it out. A cool little line of pinches that I'll probably work more next campus session. So after hanging out at the gym for a few hours, it was time for the second session, which is our first hangboard and workout in about almost like a couple months now. So it's definitely been a while. I definitely expected all of my finger strength to kind of be back to ground zero. Like I said before, I wouldn't have taken as much time off as I did if I was just planning for a normal rest week. But like the circumstances, just like me and Maddie being reunited, it was just we were due for a vacation, so I ended up taking it off like 20 days or something, which I expected to lose a lot of the strength gains. Well, not lose the strength gains, but have them kind of be buried deep within, where to the point where it would take a long time to bring back out what I had achieved in the past couple months of training. So our most recent hangboard session had us doing a one arm hang with 20 pounds, and now you can see I can't actually really even hang off of the edge one arm. I need to spot my hangs for the session. And also what I found is I was going back and forth in the past like few weeks, like leading up into like before I was about to start hangboarding again, on whether or not I wanted to continue training my one arm hangs or switch back to what I had mainly done in the past, which is the two arm hangs. There's a few reasons behind this. One of the main ones actually is that with this intense heat that we're experiencing in the summer, oftentimes what happens is when I'm hangboarding, especially on one hand, when you're putting so much pressure through your fingers, I have particularly bad skin, and what happens to me is with the heat, my pinky slides down on the edge while I'm trying to hang on it, and it just causes flappers so easily. Like it's just so greasy and I'm slipping that I get flappers, and it ruins my skin, and it's painful, and it ruins my boulder sessions. I have to tape my pinkies and they hurt a lot. And that's what happened here today too. Like I could kind of feel it a bit in the past few days. If I was hanging on some sort of edges while we were climbing, like my pinky skin was kind of getting like bothered a bit, like not quite at the level of a flapper, but it was like you could feel it would happen eventually. And then the hangboard kind of just put it over the edge. I got double flappers on my pinkies, like right like where all the pressure goes. And like now it's just like this is the first hangboard session that I did, and already it's like flapping up, so that's not good. And I'm taking it as a sign that we're gonna ditch the one arm hangs and we're gonna train two arm hangs for a while. And it's actually been a while since I've trained two arm hangs, so it'll be like a nice change of pace. I find that two arm hangs I've always stuck with more in the past, because it's always solid on the skin. there's less sort of variation in the hangs as well. Like I find there will be some days where I'm just not finding the balance with my one arm hangs, or it's too intense for some reason. And so two arm hangs is usually like very consistent, and there's like I find almost a bit of a slower, I can kind of increase the difficulty or decrease it more incrementally. And yeah, so I think we're just gonna pivot to two arm hangs. And what I do is I use the smallest Beastmaker edge for that. So that's what we'll do going forward for probably the next couple months, and see if we can push my max weight on that, which I haven't done in a while actually. So that's a good it's a good new goal for me. I think I've hung like 130 pounds on it. So we'll see if we can try to work our way back to that. And then pinch block today, I was expecting it to be hard due to the heat. I was kind of worrying that it would just be too greasy, but it was okay. The first session back, I was pinching 62 pounds, so it was okay. But yeah, we'll see how the summer and the intense heat fares with pinch block. I'm sure it's going to be a struggle. And like with our hangboard and pinch, we're going to start off at like kind of the higher volume range of our sets. So we're doing what we were doing at the beginning of the last program, which is going to be 5 sets of 2 reps for 5-second hangs and 3-minute rest in between. So that's kind of like I always start with this as I'm starting a new program and then gradually cut down. And then with the dips here and the pistol squats, we're doing 4 reps for 3 sets with 3-minute rest in between. And then after this, I always finish my workout with splits, like my side splits and my front splits. But yeah, for the next couple weeks, we'll be doing our hangs at 5 sets of 2 reps, 5 seconds, and our dips and pistol squats at 4 reps of 3 sets. And we'll gradually cut down as we go. But yeah, that wraps up the first workout. I kind of did like 2 sets of hangs before I had to ditch it, and it wasn't like even like really a proper session. So I'm kind of just scratching that one off and treating it as like a good like sort of epiphany that it's 2 arm hangs. We're bringing 2 arm hangs back. It's meant to be. It's just going to be too hard to do 1 arm hangs in the heat, and I'm happy with the progress we made over like the last training cycle, but sometimes 1 arm hangs are just not fun. Like the spinning will get me, or just the inconsistency I don't necessarily love, and so that's why I always defaulted to 2 arm hangs in the past, just the consistency. So I'll be happy to bring that back. So tomorrow's a rest day, and then we get to rinse and repeat this 2-day block cycle, and hopefully this time actually have a proper session of bouldering on the spray wall, and try to repeat some of those boulders that I had sent at the beginning of the year. So yeah,